All right, so starting off in the new, well, not terribly new, but I should say new in the sense that the diesel engine, which is in this, is now the standard offering on the AT4X. That produces, I believe, 305 horsepower and 495 pound-feet of torque, if I'm not mistaken. They did bump up the torque figure, I think, by 30 pound-feet of torque for 2024. They've made some refinements to this new diesel engine. And holy smokes, I gotta say, I'm not joking. This thing with this engine is awesome. And some might be like, oh, why is it the standard engine on this thing? This is the way you should buy it. And honestly, so last year I had the regular AT4X with the 6.2 liter, and it was good. Like, I liked the truck. I liked it. I liked it a lot. But it didn't like capture my heart. This diesel engine transforms this truck in unexpected ways. Like, this diesel is silky smooth. Like, it feels really well balanced. The torque delivery is awesome. It sounds cool. This is a fantastic engine. I love it. And it's made me, it's like created this whole new love for this truck that I wasn't even expecting. I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to be driving the Sierra AT4X with the AEV package. That's a sweet truck. Cool. I was not prepared to like love it the way that I've really enjoyed it this last week. I've driven it as much as I could because I've liked driving it that much. This engine, its power obviously is incredible. I think it still only can tow about 8,800 pounds because you have, you've got leaf springs, but you have the really impressive Multimatic DSSV shocks front and rear, which also comes with like a 2-inch lift on this thing. This truck's so freaking cool. I don't understand why it doesn't have 35-inch tires. I wish it did. And I think, obviously, if I were to buy one or someone, you could obviously swap them over, no problem. It would look way cooler even with 35-inch tires. But as it is, this thing is so sweet. And I've just got to wax on for just a second. So, I mean, I'm a huge, and I've talked a lot about the Raptor and the TRX on this channel before because I love them both. I think they're both super, super cool trucks. But this one with the diesel has a character and is just, I don't know, it's awesome. Like, if you haven't really considered the AT4X or the ZR2, the CR2 with the diesel for that matter, you should really like consider it. No, it's not as aggressive or as cool as the Raptor, as the TRX, I guess, in some ways, but in other ways, I actually think I like driving this thing better in some ways than those. And again, mostly because of this diesel engine. So some of the most awesome things about it is in the last 245 miles, I've averaged 20 miles per gallon. And that's pretty fantastic for a truck this huge. Like, I've driven this all over. I've driven it to work. I've commuted in it. I've driven it just around town, running errands, a bunch. I've literally have driven it as much as I possibly could because I've really enjoyed it. And I've averaged 20 miles per gallon. That's awesome. On my way home from work yesterday, I averaged 27 miles per gallon. That's insane. And the total trip computer here, over the last 3,300 miles, this truck has averaged 23 miles per gallon. That is freaking fantastic. And I know diesel is maybe a little bit more than premium because you got to put premium in the 6.2 liter. So the price difference between what you're really going to be paying out between the 6.2 and this turbo, this 3-liter inline 6 turbo, is not going to be that much, but you're going to have way better fuel economy in this thing. I mean, when this thing was first dropped off to me, it had like almost the trip computer said almost like 600 miles of range. Like, whoa, so cool. And so, anyway, I love it. This thing is so awesome. And if you've been, I don't know. And the thing too about this is that you can get a pretty good deal. So the AEV package, so the standard AT4X without the AEV package comes with the AEV front bumper. I don't think that it comes with the rear AEV bumper, but the AEV package adds the rear AEV bumper and a ton of like really thick boron stamped skid plates to like, if you're super hardcore about off-roading, AEV package is awesome. What I would do though, if I were buying one, not that I don't love the AEV, I think it's so cool. I think AEV does really awesome stuff. Like, I've followed their stuff for a long time. I think it's really cool. It's a little bit pricey, but it's cool. But it is like a $6,900 package. if I were going to buy one, which I have considered, I would get, obviously, I would get the same color. I'd get it with the diesel, and I would just get 35-inch tires. I'd get aftermarket wheels that look really cool, and just call it a day, because I don't know if I need all those extra skid plates and stuff, because you still get the same suspension. You get the 2-inch lift. You get a bunch of just all the other cool stuff, and the same interior. You don't get these awesome AEV embroidered headrests, which, you know, they're pretty sweet, but I don't know that I need them. And just call it a day. Like, you got a fantastic truck, and it's going to be, this one as tested was like 88 grand, which definitely pricey for sure. But almost 7 grand of that is the AEV package. And so I could get tires and wheels for way less than that and be in the low 80s. If not, so I've even looked on Auto Trader and Auto Tempest, and there's quite a few of these that have been discounted in like the mid 70s, and that's a pretty smoking deal for this truck. So just some other quick thoughts that I've had about this as well. The ride quality is just incredible. Like, I don't know what it was. I don't know if they've made some extra refinements, but I don't remember the one I had last year feeling this good. But again, this has leaf springs in the back, but this rides really, really well. It's super comfortable. I've really enjoyed daily driving it. Like, honestly, no complaints. I would love to road trip in this thing. It is just truly very, very comfortable. These shocks are magic. Chevy has done such a good job of just keeping these bringing these shocks on here. And not Chevy, GMC, I guess, but GM, I should say. But the ride quality is excellent. I would say it's like almost honestly as good as like what's on the Raptor or the TRX, like, who have, you know, multi-point coil link rear suspension, and same with like the Tundra. This is great. This is definitely a little bit easier to drive, I think, in some ways than the Raptor and the TRX, because it's not as wide. Those trucks are just so big, and this is a big vehicle, don't get me wrong, but I think that this feels just more manageable. This feels more maneuverable. I can park it easier. I can just get it around town easier. You could add some fender flares and stuff if you wanted, but as it is, again, put some 35s on it and just be happy. It's so cool. So some other things that I've really loved about this truck too is the interior. I think that, you know, the Chevy or GM's done a really great job with their current truck interiors. I don't think they're quite as luxurious as maybe the Ram, but I do think it feels more solid in here than what I've experienced recently in the Ford F-150s. It just feels really well built. It feels really well put together. My own personal opinion, it feels like the dash just comes up a little bit too high somehow. It comes up, I feel like it should be like an inch and a half lower, which I felt the same about that in the Suburban, and I know they're actually bringing the dash lower for the 2025 Suburban, so I wonder if they'll do the same for here in their trucks, but we'll wait to see. It's not a big deal. I would not say it's a deal breaker at all, because it's a really great place to spend time. The steering wheel is oddly like really skinny. It's like it's not very thick and meaty like you get in the Raptor or the TRX. It's pretty just small, like kind of like an old school truck from like the 90s or something. But you get used to it. It does heat up really, really warm. It's so good on the cold days. I've loved it. Same with the heated seats. They've been so good here on these cold days. And speaking of the seats, this is a huge surprise to me. So if you've watched any of my other GM videos, like the Suburban and even the other trucks like the ZR2, I had the AEV ZR2 last year. I've never been a fan of GM seats. Like, I just feel like they're too narrow, they're too shallow. And I do feel like these are still a little bit shallow here in the GMC AT4X, but I don't know if they've changed the bolstering or the cushions or something, but these are super comfortable and like nice and squishy. The bolstering is great. Like, no complaints. I love these seats, and I can't even put my finger on exactly what, if or something. Maybe I've just changed. I don't know. But I love these seats. I do wish they were a little deeper for my thighs, but boy, I could just sit in these things all day. Same with the back seat. The back seat is, I think, more comfortable than the Ford's back seat, at least. I think Ram's is still bigger and more accommodating and more luxurious. You can lean that back and stuff. But this is squishy. There's tons of room back there. I feel like there's maybe even more legroom in this than in the current F-150. I feel like when they went from the last generation of F-150 to the newest one to the current one, they lost some like legroom somehow, and just like a little bit. This feels more spacious back there than that. So it's just like honestly a super great place to spend time. I do still think that the shifter takes up way more space than it needs to. I mean, I almost wish it just had like the Suburbans, like I want to just press a button for the gear on the dash or something and free up a bunch of this space, because it's not really necessary to take up that much room. I mean, it's not like this is directly connected to like linkage in the it's, anyway. I would appreciate a little more space there. That's a nitpick. The center console is really comfortable. Both armrests are well cushioned. They feel very durable, like it's going to last a long time. The wireless charger actually does work for your phone, and it's conveniently placed kind of out of sight to keep your phone down there, which I think is so brilliant. This is just such a good truck. Like, man, I love it. I honestly would really consider buying one. You could honestly daily drive this thing. Like, it gets just as good, if not better, fuel economy than a lot of crossovers and a lot of just regular cars, which I think is so cool. Anyway, which leads me to my final thing, and this isn't really so much about this truck, but it is something to consider about just GM products right now. So Ford has, besides their 5-liter V8, which is fine, has pretty much moved away from V8s in favor of, lots of turbochargers and their power boost offerings and stuff like that. Same thing with Ram, unfortunately, because of the CAFE standards. As we know, the Hemi is dead. Super sad. The Hellcat is dead. Like, all of those wonderful V8s that Ram had are gone in favor of inline 6s, which I'm sure are going to be fine. But here's what's so cool. Like, in GM, in their 1,500 trucks, not even their heavy duty, but in their 1,500 trucks, I can get a diesel and a regular huge 6.2 liter V8. And I think those are huge selling points, especially here with the diesel. I don't need to go get some crazy, weird, like, hybrid power boost turbocharged thing. Like, yeah, this diesel's turbocharged, but I can just go get a diesel and be getting 27 miles per gallon on my commute home. And yeah, again, I'm going to pay a little bit more for a diesel, but a lot of engines, including GM's own 6.2 liter, like I said, require premium. And so the price difference is negligible, and yet I'm going to get amazing fuel economy. And honestly, I like the 6.2 liter a lot, but this drives better. It's smoother, it's more balanced, it's easier to drive. It feels like this is the engine that was made for this truck. Anyway, in conclusion, I love this thing. I think it's totally worth the money. I think it's totally worth considering, especially if you're considering like a Raptor or a TRX or something and want something just maybe a little more usable, that's a little more practical and going to make a little bit more sense financially and just like practically, like driving around and like parking and like daily driving. I think you'll really, really enjoy this. I mean, again, all it needs is some 35-inch tires, and I think you're going to be golden. That might cut down on your fuel economy a little, but I don't think it's going to be enough to really like make it like, oh, see, I should have just got the Raptor or something. I think, I think it's going to be worth your money and worth your time. So thanks for watching, guys. I love this truck. Huge thanks to GMC. And honestly, major kudos to GMC for making such a great engine, making such a great truck, making it so cool with AEV. I love their partnership. It's just great. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later. We'll see you.